Hey there, I'm Carla, and I'm here to get you started with Asana in 15 minutes or less. More than just a tool for project management, Asana allows your team to coordinate all your shared work in one place, so you know who's doing what by when, and nothing falls through the cracks. Let's get started. This video has 4 parts. We'll start by getting oriented and covering some basic navigation. Next, we'll dig into the fundamentals of capturing work with projects and tasks. Then we'll talk about how to organize and prioritize your individual work with My Tasks. Finally, we'll cover how to track and stay up to date on work happening around you with your Asana inbox. Use the timestamps below to jump to a specific section or watch from start to finish. Let's start by understanding how Asana fits in with some of the other tools you're probably already using. Most teams have tools for creating and managing documents and files, as well as messaging and communicating with teammates. But things start to break down when it comes to coordinating work and connecting tools. Asana is the missing piece that clarifies who's doing what by when, connecting goals, plans, assets, and communication all in one place. Asana also serves as an integration hub with the other tools and apps your team is already using. We support over 100 integrations, including apps from Microsoft, Google, Salesforce, Adobe, Atlassian, Dropbox, and more. When you're managing work in Asana, you'll usually be doing one of 3 things: capturing work that needs to get done by yourself or by others with projects and tasks, organizing and prioritizing the work on your own plate with My Tasks, or tracking. As you and your teammates complete work, you'll want to communicate along the way and stay up to date with your Asana inbox. This cycle repeats as new work arises from what you and your teammates complete. Eventually, you'll also be interested in monitoring and reporting on work at a high level. We'll cover that in another video. Let's look at how information is organized in Asana. Organizations connect employees at the same company in a single space based on a shared email domain. Teams are groups of people in an organization that collaborate on projects. They may correspond to the teams in your org chart, like sales or marketing. As an example, the events and design teams at Phoenix Corp are both part of the same organization, but they'll create and manage projects within their own teams. Projects are stored within teams. They track the actionable steps, information, and communication needed to achieve an initiative. Projects are a great starting point for capturing work. For example, the Phoenix events team created a project to track all the work for their upcoming virtual conference. Finally, projects are composed of tasks, the bite-sized, actionable pieces of work needed to accomplish the project. Those tasks may also include subtasks and comments. Let's see how this looks in Asana. Starting at the top with your organization. See which organization you're logged into at any time, or switch between organizations by clicking on your photo or initials in the upper right-hand corner. We're working out of the Phoenix organization today. Find the teams that you're part of in this organization in the left-hand sidebar. Expand the team to see the projects that live within it, or search for a project you've created using the search bar. Within a project, you can view all of the tasks, subtasks, and comments linked to it. If you ever need help, click on the Help menu in the upper right-hand corner to head to the guide, get access to trainings, or contact our support team. Now that you have the lay of the land, let's go over some basics of capturing work with projects and tasks. Projects and tasks are the building blocks of everything in Asana. Let's go over some basics to help you create with confidence. Start with the orange Quick Add button. Here, we'll create a project from scratch, but be sure to check out our templates for common project types. Give your project a clear title and place it within the appropriate team. We can always change the project view later. We'll stick with list view for now. Keeping the project public will mean that anyone on the team can search for it. Alternatively, you can make it private, visible only to project members. You can change this setting later as well. Just like that, you've got your new project. If you know you'll come back to this project often, click the star to add it to your favorites. Let's start capturing some of the work related to the upcoming virtual conference. A blank project is a lot like a blank Word doc or spreadsheet, except that in Asana, each line is a task, an actionable piece of work related to this project. Create a new task by clicking into the first line or using the Add Task button. Add more tasks by pressing Return. Tasks should represent bite-sized, actionable pieces of work, so start them off with a clear verb. A great task answers the question, who's doing what by when, so be sure to add an assignee and a due date to each task. Once you have a few tasks, you might want to organize them into sections. Sections are categories that help you group related tasks. In Board View, they'll become your column headers. Drag and drop tasks or entire sections to reorder them. Click on any task to open the Task Detail pane. Here you can add a description, including any relevant information needed to complete the task. You can even add attachments. A preview will appear in the comments thread below. The comments thread is where you'll communicate with teammates about the work related to this task. At mentioning a teammate, we'll add them as a collaborator. Think of it like CCing someone on an email. Collaborators will get inbox notifications for updates to that task. Check out the inbox section of this video for more details. If you want someone to get notifications on project-level updates and conversations, add them as a project member. Consider opting out of notifying them when tasks are added, unless they need to monitor the project closely. You can change your project notification settings at any time. Some tasks are big enough that it's helpful to break them up into smaller steps. In this case, you can add subtasks. Add assignees and due dates to each subtask to ensure they'll appear in your teammates' My Tasks. You can see how many subtasks a task has by glancing at the main list view and can click to expand or hide them. By default, Asana will show you only the incomplete tasks remaining in a project, but your completed tasks are still there and you can view them at any time. View your project in whatever way makes sense for your team. Deadline-driven projects usually work well as lists. Or maybe your team prefers Kanban-style boards. Use Timeline to see a visual of your project over time. Or Calendar View for week-by-week planning. Toggling between views won't change anything for your teammates, unless you save the layout as default. These are just the project basics. When you're ready, make your project work harder for you by adding custom fields, setting up smooth handoffs with dependencies, and standardizing requests with forms. Check out our Asana Tips series for inspiration. We've covered building tasks and the anatomy of a single project. Next, we'll show you how to organize your individual work across all your projects with My Tasks. With so much going on, it can be hard to know what to focus on each day. My Tasks in Asana is your personal to-do list, showing you only the tasks assigned to you across all your projects. Use My Tasks to plan your time, focus on priorities, and make sure you never have to mark another email unread again. Here's how. Access your My Tasks from the upper left-hand corner of the sidebar. Only the tasks assigned to you show up in My Tasks, giving you one view for all your to-dos. Just like a project, you can capture new tasks directly within My Tasks by adding a new line or clicking on the Add Task button. Any task you create directly in My Tasks is private to you. By default, new tasks will land in a recently assigned section at the top. These are tasks you haven't yet prioritized, kind of like unread emails. And speaking of unread emails, instead of managing to-dos from your inbox, use our Gmail or Outlook integration to convert action items from email directly to tasks in Asana. We recommend adding due dates, even if they're tentative, to any task in your My Tasks. This makes them easier to organize and prevents anything from getting lost. There are a few options for how you can organize your My Tasks. Some people choose to do a simple sort by due date. You can also sort by project. You can also prioritize your tasks into 3 buckets: today, things you plan to do today; upcoming, things you need to do in the next week; and later, things you need to address beyond next week. If you're familiar with David Allen's Getting Things Done or GTD methodology, this prioritization approach aligns nicely. Quickly move tasks to these sections by selecting from the drop-down options to the right of the task, or by using the keyboard shortcuts, Tab Y, Tab U, or Tab L. You can also just drag and drop. By giving every task a due date and categorizing it, Asana will auto-promote them to your upcoming and today sections 1 week and 1 day out. Nothing gets lost, but you also don't have to keep everything on your radar at once. Use due date ranges to pace your work. Tasks will auto-promote with the start date. This is a great way to schedule reminders for yourself to begin working on a task in advance instead of on the due date when it might be too late. Once you've prioritized your tasks for the day, collapse your upcoming and later sections for a simplified view of what to focus on. We recommend starting and ending your day in My Tasks to organize any recently assigned tasks. And don't forget the best part, check off tasks as you complete them throughout the day. As you're capturing, organizing, and completing work, so are your teammates. Use your inbox to track and stay up to date on the work that's happening around you. Your inbox consolidates everything you need to know about the work happening on your team. But unlike email, Asana's inbox only serves you relevant notifications on the work that you do and follow, making them focused and actionable. Here's how it works. Access your inbox from the upper left-hand corner of the sidebar. You'll get inbox notifications about activity on any tasks, projects, or conversations you're following. The most recent activity will be at the top. You can use the indicators and filters to focus on what's most important. The blue bubble shows you new notifications and unread comments. Quickly see if a notification is tied to a task that's due soon. Click on an inbox notification to see more detail on the right-hand side. Use filters to view a subset of your inbox notifications. Assign to Me shows you updates on tasks you own. Use @mentioned to respond directly to conversations where you've been mentioned. Assigned by Me lets you see updates on tasks that you've assigned to other people. You can also view an expanded or a collapsed version of your inbox, depending on whether you want more information or just want to scan quickly. For every notification, consider taking one of 3 actions. First, archive. Some notifications are just an FYI and can be archived right away. For example, this notification is just letting me know a due date was changed. Once you've archived it, you can always find it again by clicking on the Archive tab at the top of your inbox. You can even move a notification back to the main inbox if needed. The second action is to respond. Someone might have asked you a question or commented on a task, and you can respond without having to visit the project itself. Sometimes a like is all the response that's needed. Once you've responded, you can archive the notification. The third action is to create a follow-up task. In some cases, a notification might prompt you to capture new work. You can easily create a follow-up task directly from your inbox, which will land in your My Tasks. Asana will automatically include a link to the original task for context. Once you've captured the new task, you can archive the notification. If you want to come back to a notification later, you can also mark it as unread. Notifications are based on work you're involved in, but if for any reason they're too noisy or irrelevant, you can always unfollow a task or a project. When you first sign up for Asana, you'll receive email notifications that mirror your inbox notifications. You can update your preferences at any time. Once your team is collaborating in Asana, we recommend turning off email notifications and relying on your inbox to track updates. Capturing new work from your inbox brings us back to where we started. As you manage work in Asana, you'll flow through these 3 main spaces: capturing with projects and tasks, organizing and prioritizing with My Tasks, and tracking updates from your Asana inbox. These are the basics, but there's so much more to explore. Visit the Asana Guide for links to articles, live trainings, videos, and online courses. How'd we do? Yep, those are the basics in 15 minutes or less. Happy Asana-ing!